Good morning all, it's Lynn here from Destiny Fulfilled. I do hope that today finds you well. The card that I've drawn for the collective today is the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords can talk about conflict, it can talk about competition, it can talk about fights, arguments, deceit, it can talk about anxiety, it can talk about, general unrest, right? But what this card is calling for us to do is to, take a look at a current situation in our life and see what's at play. See if there is some sort of conflict or unrest or angst in the situation, and why do you think it's there, right? So having a look at what actions you've had and contributed to the situation, as well as what others have contributed to as well, right? There is always two sides or two forces that are at play, or multiple forces that are at play, right? It's never just the actions of one person. There is always how you behaved in the situation, as well as how the other person behaved in the situation as well. So a question you might want to ask yourself is to think about a current situation that you've been involved in and determine what was at play. What was it that you did to contribute, right? So really dig down into a situation that you may feel less than stellar about, right? And see what it was at play, why you did what you did. Try and understand, be compassionate with yourself, be loving with yourself, but try and understand what was at play, why you acted in the way that you did, and if you were, how you justified your actions at that time, right? No judgment, just get clear on why you did what you did at the time, right? The next question you might look back and think about is, what was the truth of the situation? Not what you hoped the truth was, not what you wished the truth was, but what was the truth of the situation. Get clear about that as well. And again, it's not about judgment, it's not about, beating yourself up, it's about understanding what was at play. What was the real truth of the situation, not what you wished it could be, or hoped it could be, or wanted it to be. If you could do the situation again, what would you do differently this time round? What learning have you taken from the first time that this situation occurred for you? And if it was to represent itself again, what would you do differently? What have you learned? And have a think around about how that might play out for you. And lastly, how can you forgive yourself? This is not about beating yourself up. It's not about beating other people up, right? It's about honestly looking at a situation, honestly seeing it for what it is, honestly seeing how you played out in the situation, how you reacted, what you did, and how you might do it differently, but also forgiving yourself. How can you give yourself the gift of forgiveness in that situation so that you can let it go, right? We carry all this shit around with us from all of our lives, right? Stuff we've collected along the way. And, it's time that we, yes, had a look at the situation, examined it for what it truly is, but then start to let some of this stuff go. We don't need to carry it around with us for the rest of our lives. Acknowledge, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I did something I'm less proud of, I wasn't standing in my integrity at that time. I acted in a way that I wish I hadn't acted, right? We've all been there, we've all done that. But then how can you forgive yourself and let this situation go? Just let it go, take from it what you need to learn, but then let it go and let's not carry it around anymore. Now, you may have one situation, you may have multiple situations. We all have multiple, I believe, right? Because we're human beings interacting in a world. We're bound to come up against situations which we didn't act in a way that we wished we could have, or we wished we had done differently, or that we could have done better. We all have those experiences, right? So there will be multiple, I expect multiple situations in which you will have had something happen and you wished you would have done it differently. So get clear about what it is it was, how you acted, and how you would do it differently if it would come into play again in the future in some way. Anyway, a day for really digging in, a day for really understanding how we are at play in the world. And the Five of Swords offers us great learnings if we choose to really lift the lid on some of those experiences that we've had in the past. I wish you nothing but love and light. Be compassionate with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.